Mercia. Been playing in the North Shore for quite a few years. Started off with a band called Michigan Blacksnake, a few other bands before, a few other bands since, but that was the first one that came here, and Dan booked us at the Rum Line, and it was coming out of Lowell at UMass, it was a different world up here. Once we crossed that bridge, we found out. But the music scene's amazing. There's something about the North Shore. There's an abundance of amazing players up here. And it's great for us who don't live up here anymore, too. I still come on an almost weekly basis. And, somewhere along the line, I heard Maceo Parker's live. Changed my life. I quit the band I was in the next day. I said, we need to play some more of this funk stuff. This is, and since then, it's just been, all kinds of dance music. And I'm lucky enough to be a working musician in the area. I play with a number of bands. Sugar King's the main one. It's my favorite band. It's the most diverse band.
I love playing in this area. Everybody loves the water. Everybody loves the sea. And there's just such great people here. They have such a high appreciation for music and art in this part of town, which is inspiring. As a child, my parents saw that I had some musical ability. I would bang on the piano. I would go to my mom's friend's house and play the piano. And my older brother also played the drums, so there was always drumsticks around the house. And as I was growing up, I'd bang the drums, and I always liked the piano. So I started to take piano lessons when I was 6 years old. I took classical piano from the time I was 6. And but I was a drummer by nature, so I listened to everybody. My father was a jazz enthusiast, so what really. I think I was listening as a little kid. I was listening to Ray Charles. My dad was listening to a Ray Charles record. And all I can say, which is a strange thing, but I remember, was that music entered me. I remember I was 2 years old. It sounds funny, but I was 2 years old. And I was listening to this music. I heard these drums. And as a kid, the drums sounded like balloons. Oh, sorry. Sounded like somebody banging balloons. Because that's the only thing I could relate that sound to. My first real, I'd say, I want posters on the walls. I loved Jimi Hendrix. I was a Jimi Hendrix fanatic. I'm a songwriter. In fact, I went to school. I was a piano major. But I drum and I sing and I write. Influenced by everybody, I've been able to play with some of the finest musicians in the world. These Sugar Kings. These are some of the finest musicians in this area. New England area, North Shore, Massachusetts, just some fine musicians, just some fine people.
I'm Dino Vasquez. I'm the singer, guitarist, and tres player for Los Sugar Kings. I was in this band at its inception, and it sort of evolved out of another world music reggae situation that I was doing with Mick and Dan. And actually, I saw those guys in another band called Michigan Blacksnake, with a local funk band, very popular in the 90s and early 2000s. And I remember sitting in the audience at Johnny D's and thinking to myself, man, I'd love to have a band like that. And next thing I know, I had that exact band. So it's been cool. And my intention was to bring in Cuban son, Cuban clave-based music, and experiment with it and learn it and really integrate it into the foundation of a new type of expression. And it was great to have these musicians that brought in funk and jazz and blues and R&B and reggae and mix that with the Latin influences and come up with something that's a totally different voicing and a unique way to approach music. And so my uncle gave me his old electric guitar that my father had given to him in 1963 when they were almost fresh off the boat from Cuba. And something that he bought at Sears for like $25. And I got it on my 10th Christmas on this planet. And it's just never looked back. It's been going since. And, back then I was like a rocker, I just wanted to play like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin. And I was taking lessons and doing that sort of thing. And then I moved to New York City in my 20s, and I discovered this Nueva Trova Cubana, Cuban music, and the music of Silvio Rodriguez in particular. He was a singer-songwriter, kind of like a Bob Dylan of Latin America, like that big of an influence. And I just was blown away by the poetry, the vocabulary, the melodies, the guitar playing. He was a student of Segovia, and Leo Brouwer, who's another great Cuban guitarist. So I started learning that finger-picking style, and that got me on the whole route of Cuban music, and I started discovering the dance music of Cuba when I was living in Europe, living in Germany of all places. Traveled to Cuba and bought my first tres, which looks like a guitar, but it's 6 strings and 3 courses that are tuned octave, unison, octave, G, C, E. And so it gives you that really interesting montuno sound. That was born on that instrument. And then it became, in salsa, it moved over to the piano. So we have a pianist in our group normally, Dan, and we alternate and counterpoint these montunos, which is really a lot of fun to do. So that's my story.